Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel.
How are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. Today I am here with Maya.
Yes, and today we are going to talk about a fun and modern topic.
In today's episode, our topic is Bilibili versus YouTube. Which app is better? We will use this comparison to practice useful English vocabulary.
I love this topic. Comparing two things is something we do every day, so this is very practical.
Exactly. Today we will learn comparison words, opinion phrases, and useful vocabulary for talking about apps and technology.
Let's start simple. Have you used both Bilibili and YouTube before?
Yes, I have. YouTube is very popular worldwide, and Bilibili is very popular, especially in China.
That's a great starting point. Let's compare them one feature at a time.
Good idea. Let's start with the user interface. What do you think about YouTube's interface?
I think YouTube's interface is very simple and easy to use.
I agree. It is clean, with a search bar at the top and recommended videos below.
And what about Bilibili's interface?
Bilibili's interface is more colorful and has more features visible on the screen.
That's interesting. So we could say, Bilibili's interface is more colorful than YouTube's.
Exactly. That is a perfect example of a comparative sentence.
Let's talk about the grammar here. We used more colorful than. Can you explain this structure?
Sure. We use more plus an adjective plus than to compare two things.
So for longer adjectives, we add more before the word.
Yes, exactly. For example, more interesting, more difficult, or more popular.
What about shorter adjectives? How do we compare those?
For short adjectives, we usually add "er" at the end. For example, simpler, faster, or easier.
Let's use one of those. YouTube's interface is simpler than Bilibili's.
Perfect example. That shows the opposite comparison using a short adjective.
This is such a great way to practice grammar with a real modern topic.
Let's practice a few more comparative sentences before continuing.
Good idea. Let's try comparing loading speed.
Sure. YouTube usually loads faster than Bilibili in most countries.
That's a great example using faster, the comparative form of fast.
Let's try one more about video length limits.
Bilibili allows longer videos than YouTube for some free accounts.
Excellent example using longer, the comparative form of long.
These extra examples really help the grammar structure feel automatic.
Let's also try comparing upload limits between the two platforms.
Sure. YouTube usually allows bigger file uploads than Bilibili's free tier.
That's a great example. Bigger is the comparative form of big.
This kind of everyday technical comparison is great listening practice too.
Let's move to the next feature, video content variety.
Good idea. What kind of content does YouTube have?
YouTube has almost everything: music, tutorials, vlogs, movies, and educational content.
And Bilibili?
Bilibili is very popular for anime, gaming content, and content created by younger users.
So we could say, YouTube has a wider variety of content than Bilibili.
Exactly, that's a great use of wider, the comparative form of wide.
Let's continue comparing. What about video quality?
Both platforms usually offer high video quality, like 1080p or even 4K resolution.
So in this case, we could say, YouTube and Bilibili offer similar video quality.
Yes, that's a useful phrase for showing things are equal, not different.
Let's learn a few more phrases for showing similarity.
Good idea. We can also say, they are both good, or they are just as good as each other.
That's very useful. Let's practice a full sentence using just as.
Sure. Bilibili's video quality is just as good as YouTube's.
Perfect example. This shows equal comparison very clearly.
Let's move to another important feature, advertisements.
Oh, this is something many users care about a lot.
Yes, YouTube usually has more advertisements, especially without a premium subscription.
And Bilibili?
Bilibili also has ads, but many users feel they are less frequent on the free version.
So we could say, YouTube has more ads than Bilibili.
Exactly, another great comparative sentence using more.
Let's talk about subscription plans now.
Good idea. YouTube has YouTube Premium, which removes ads and allows background play.
And Bilibili has a premium membership too, often called Big Member.
Yes, that's correct. Both platforms offer premium features for paying users.
So we could say both apps offer similar premium benefits.
Perfect. Let's talk about a slightly different comparison structure now.
What structure is that?
The superlative form, used when comparing three or more things or saying something is the best or most.
Can you give an example with these two apps?
Sure. YouTube is the most popular video platform in the world.
That's a wonderful example of the superlative form.
For short adjectives, we add est. For example, the fastest, the easiest, or the biggest.
Let's try one. YouTube has the biggest global audience.
Perfect example. Let's continue comparing more features.
What about content creators? Who can upload videos?
On both platforms, almost anyone can become a content creator and upload videos.
That's a nice similarity between the two apps.
Yes, and both platforms allow creators to earn money from their content. And
So we could say both platforms support content creators in similar ways.
exactly. Let's talk about the comment sections now.
I've heard Bilibili has a special feature called bullet comments.
Yes, that's called Denmaku. Comments float across the screen while the video plays.
That sounds very unique. YouTube doesn't have this feature.
Correct. So we could say, Bilibili's comment feature is more unique than YouTube's.
That's such an interesting cultural difference between the two platforms.
Let's practice describing this feature using new vocabulary.
Sure, let's do it.
We could say Denmaku comments make Bilibili feel more interactive.
That's a great sentence, using interactive as a strong descriptive word.
Let's also mention the word engaging. Can you make a sentence using it?
The Danmaku feature makes videos feel more engaging for viewers.
Perfect. Engaging is a fantastic word for describing content that holds your attention.
Let's continue our comparison with search functions.
Good idea. YouTube's search function is very advanced, with filters for date, length, and type.
And Bilibili's search function is also good, but with a stronger focus on anime and gaming categories.
So we could say YouTube's search filters are more detailed than Bilibili's.
That's a great sentence using detailed as our comparative adjective.
Let's also compare mobile app design between the two platforms.
Good idea. I think YouTube's mobile app feels smoother when scrolling.
That's true. We could say YouTube's app is smoother than Bilibili's app.
And I think Bilibili's mobile app feels more playful with extra animations.
So we could say Bilibili's app feels more playful than YouTube's app.
These extra comparisons really strengthen our vocabulary practice today.
Let's talk about accessibility now. Which platform is easier to access worldwide?
I think YouTube is easier to access, since it's available almost everywhere.
Yes, that's true. Bilibili is more limited outside of certain regions. And
So we could say, YouTube is more accessible than Bilibili globally.
perfect example. Let's also discuss language options.
YouTube supports many languages worldwide.
Yes, and Bilibili mainly focuses on Chinese, though it does support some other languages too.
So we could say, YouTube supports more languages than Bilibili.
Excellent sentence. This comparison really helps us practice using more naturally.
Let's do a short role play now, using everything we've learned so far.
Great idea. Let's imagine we are two friends deciding which app to use.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hey, which app do you usually use, YouTube or Bilibili?
I mostly use YouTube because it has a wider variety of content.
That's true, but I really enjoy Bilibili's Danmaku comments. They make videos more interactive.
That's a good point. I think YouTube's search filters are more detailed, though.
I agree, but Bilibili feels more engaging for anime fans like me.
That makes sense. I think both apps are just as good, depending on what you're looking for.
Exactly, it really depends on personal preference.
This role play shows how naturally we can express opinions and comparisons together.
Yes, and now our listeners have real examples they can use in their own conversations.
Let's do one more short role play, this time about live streaming features.
Great idea. Both platforms offer live streaming, right?
Yes, do you know which one has more live streaming features?
I think Bilibili has more live streaming features specifically for gaming.
That's true. YouTube also has live streaming, but it's more focused on general content.
So we could say Bilibili's live streaming feels more specialized than YouTube's.
That's a great sentence, and specialized is a wonderful advanced word to learn.
This extra role play really adds more real-life comparison practice for our listeners.
Let's talk about a few opinion phrases we can use when comparing things.
Good idea. We can say, in my opinion, or personally, I think.
We can also say, from my point of view, or as far as I'm concerned.
These phrases help us express our thoughts politely and clearly.
Let's practice a few full sentences with these phrases.
Sure. In my opinion, YouTube is easier for beginners to use.
Personally, I think Bilibili has a more unique community feeling.
Great examples. These phrases work perfectly with our comparison vocabulary.
Let's also talk about giving balanced opinions, mentioning both good and bad points.
Good idea. We can use the phrase, on the one hand, eaten on the other hand.
Can you give a full example?
Sure. On the one hand, YouTube has more global content. On the other hand, Bilibili offers a more interactive experience.
That's a wonderful, balanced sentence structure.
This phrase is extremely useful for debates, essays, and daily conversations.
Let's practice one more example together.
Sure. Can you try making a balanced sentence?
On the one hand, YouTube is more accessible worldwide. On the other hand, Bilibili has a stronger anime community.
Perfect sentence. You use the structure very naturally.
Let's do a quick quiz to review the vocabulary we learned today.
Sounds fun? Let's do it.
Question 1. What comparative structure do we use for longer adjectives?
We use more plus the adjective plus than.
Correct. Question 2. What do we add to short adjectives to compare them?
We usually add at the end, like faster or easier.
Perfect. Question 3. What phrase do we use for the superlative form?
We use the most or add est for short adjectives.
Excellent. You really understood today's lesson.
This quiz is such a fun way to check our comparison skills.
If you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yes, it really helps more learners discover our content.
Let's talk about a few more useful comparison words before we finish.
Good idea. What other words should we mention?
We can use better, worse, bigger, and smaller for simple comparisons.
Let's practice a sentence using better. I think YouTube is better for learning new skills.
I think Bilibili is better for watching anime with a fun community feeling.
Perfect examples. Notice how both sentences are correct, just different opinions.
Yes, and that's totally okay. Different people have different preferences.
Let's also mention worse, just so listeners understand the full picture.
Sure. Some people think Bilibili's global reach is worse than YouTube's.
That's a very honest and balanced example.
Let's also mention bigger and smaller for a quick practice round.
Good idea. YouTube's user base is bigger than Bilibili's globally.
Bilibili's community feels smaller but more tightly connected.
That's a lovely sentence, and tightly connected is a great descriptive phrase too.
Let's also try higher and lower for one more comparison.
Sure. YouTube generally has higher advertising revenue than Bilibili.
Bilibili's advertising revenue is currently lower, but growing quickly.
These extra examples give our listeners even more comparison words to practice with.
Let's talk about pronunciation now. How do we say comparative correctly?
Good point. It's pronounced comparative, with the stress on the second syllable.
And superlative?
That's pronounced superlative, also with stress on the second syllable.
These pronunciation tips are so helpful for speaking confidently.
Yes, practicing stress patterns really improves how natural we sound.
Let's also practice the word accessible together.
Sure. It's pronounced accessible, with stress on the second syllable.
And interactive.
That's pronounced interacative, with stress on the third syllable.
These extra pronunciation examples really help build confidence with longer words.
Let's do one more short role play, this time a debate between two friends. Great idea. Let's do it.
I really think YouTube is the best video platform overall.
I understand your point, but I believe Bilibili offers a more unique experience for certain audiences.
That's a fair point. Which platform do you personally use more often?
Honestly, I use both, depending on what content I want to watch.
That makes sense. I think that's the smartest approach for most people.
Exactly, there's no single correct answer. It really depends on personal needs.
This debate roleplay shows how comparison vocabulary works in a more advanced, natural conversation.
Yes, and our listeners can copy this structure for many other comparison topics too.
Let's talk about how this vocabulary applies to other situations too.
Good point. We can use the same comparison words for comparing phones, restaurants, or even cities.
Yes, exactly. Comparison vocabulary is extremely useful in daily life.
For example, this restaurant is more expensive than that one.
Or, this city is bigger than my hometown.
These are perfect examples showing how flexible this vocabulary really is.
Let's try a few more everyday comparison examples together.
Sure. My new laptop is faster than my old one.
This job is more stressful than my previous job.
Winter here is colder than winter in my hometown.
These examples show learners can use this vocabulary in almost any part of daily life.
Exactly, and the more we practice, the more natural it becomes.
Let's talk about a few common mistakes learners make with comparisons.
Good idea. What's one common mistake?
Some learners say more better instead of just better.
Yes, that's a very common mistake. Better is already a comparative form, so we don't add more.
Another mistake is forgetting than after a comparative adjective.
That's true. We should always say bigger than, not just bigger.
A third mistake is using -er with longer adjectives, like saying beautifuler instead of more beautiful.
Yes, longer adjectives always use more, never at the end.
These small grammar reminders really help avoid common mistakes.
Let's also review a few more short adjectives that use
Sure, cheap becomes cheaper, clean becomes cleaner, and tall becomes taller.
Great examples. And a few longer adjectives that use more expensive, more comfortable, and more convenient.
This comparison feels much clearer now with all these examples.
Let's also talk briefly about why comparison skills matter for real life, not just apps.
Good point. We use comparisons when shopping, choosing schools, or picking travel destinations.
Exactly. Being able to compare things clearly helps us make better decisions every day.
It also helps us explain our choices to other people more confidently.
That's such an important practical reason to master this vocabulary.
Let's finish with one final summary conversation, comparing everything we discussed today. Okay, let's do it.
So, to summarize, Bilibili's interface is more colorful, but YouTube's interface is simpler.
YouTube has a wider variety of content, but Bilibili is more unique with its Danmaku comments.
YouTube has more ads on the free version, though both platforms have similar premium options.
YouTube is more accessible worldwide, but Bilibili feels more engaging for anime fans.
In the end, both apps are just as good depending on personal preference and needs.
That's such a complete and balanced way to end this comparison.
I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Me too. Comparing two apps turned out to be such a fun way to practice English.
Yes, and I hope our listeners feel much more confident using comparative and superlative structures now.
Practice really is the key, so try comparing things around you every day.
You can compare your phone to a friend's phone or two restaurants you've visited.
That's such a simple and practical way to build fluency naturally.
Let's also do one last quick practice round, comparing a few random things together.
Sounds fun. Let's compare coffee and tea.
I think coffee is stronger than tea.
In my opinion, tea is healthier than coffee.
Great examples. Let's try comparing two cities now.
New York is busier than my hometown.
London is more historic than many modern cities.
These quick examples show how easily this vocabulary applies to any topic.
Exactly, and that's the real power of learning comparison structures. Well,
Let's also remind our listeners that mixing comparative and superlative forms takes practice.
Yes, it's completely normal to make small mistakes while learning this structure.
The most important thing is practicing often, in different situations and contexts.
That's such an encouraging thought to leave our listeners with today.
Let's also mention that comparison vocabulary is often tested in English exams too.
That's true. Exams like IELTS and TOEFL often ask learners to compare and contrast ideas.
So mastering this today gives our listeners a real advantage for exams as well.
That's such a valuable bonus benefit from today's lesson.
Let's also mention that comparisons help us write better emails and reports at work.
That's true. Comparing options clearly makes business writing much more persuasive.
For example, this plan is more cost-effective than the previous one.
That's a wonderful professional example using our comparison vocabulary.
Let's do one final quick practice comparing two study methods.
Sure. Watching videos is more engaging than reading textbooks for some learners.
Reading textbooks is often more detailed than watching short videos.
Both are true depending on the learner's personal style and goals.
This has truly been such a fun and useful episode for our channel.
Thank you everyone for listening and learning with us.
Yes, thank you all so much for your time and support today.
If this episode helped you, please share it with a friend who is also learning English.
And let us know in the comments, which app do you personally prefer, YouTube or Bilibili?
We would love to hear your opinions using today's vocabulary.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care and see you soon.
Bye.